Good, so continuing on then, about the four foundations of mindfulness. One is kaya, is the body. Kaya nupassana, insight into the body. Two, Vedanā, insight into feelings. Vedanā nupassana. Passana, like vipassana, vit means into or under the surface of. So Vedanā nupassana, insight into feelings, into their impermanence. And now this area is called Citta. Citta is the consciousness or the mind. Some of these words cover a lot of things. So Citta nupassana is awareness of the build-up of the mind, of what it's made up from. It's very, very good and leaves you feeling very secure. Like there are many, many theories of mind, subconscious or repression, or lots of different models. From my experience, this one always checks out very well. All the things in there are very easy to identify and check out. You can reality check them. Citta. Right, yeah, so we've got awareness of seeing, awareness of hearing, awareness of taste and smell, the awareness of the sense doors. And then awareness of conceptual thinking, planning, dreaming, fantasizing, or just memory just plopping into the mind and vanishing out again from the song you heard outside in the radio in the car or something. So that comes under the six sense doors. The six sense doors in Four Foundations of Mindfulness. Four Foundations of Mindfulness, briefly about 1, 2, 3, and then 4 has a great deal of things in, including the six sense doors. And often what you find, the fourth foundation of mindfulness has a great deal of formulas in. So I'll briefly go through them so you know what I'm talking about. But one of the things in there is the six sense doors. Often you find the list done like this way, sideways. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, or 4, like done like this way. So it occurred to me that it works better up that way, but you don't very see it. But body, feelings, or mind. This tend to be how we experience things-ish, roughly speaking. Is the body, the feelings, a little bit lighter thing, perception, more a bit up with the head and so on, and then the mind. And then the higher mind, if you like, is where Dhamma means kind of three things. It means one is just phenomena. Another, it means the teaching of the Buddha, so it's some formulae that are very useful for people who want to study meditation. And it also means spiritual laws as well. Various spellings of it. So I'll just quickly read through what they meant by Dhamma nupassana. Because also, in my experience, this list gets added to and jumbled a little bit. So what I gather from what I've understood is this, is that it's meant to be a rememberable list. So it more or less follows a 3 of, 4 of, 5 of, 6 of, 7 of, 8 of kind of pattern. So it's just actually sort of like easy to remember. So it's got a kind of bag of tricks. It's got a little bag of useful tools. It also easily gets mixed up with another teaching called the 37 Factors of Enlightenment, which often gets thrown into this Dhamma nupassana basket. So if you had it starting off with a 3, you would be starting off with the 3 characteristics, universal characteristics of all phenomena. That's wherever you look, wherever, if it's this screen or this book, or my contact of the feeling on the book, or the sight of the book, or the idea of the book, or the sound of my voice, or this curtain, or anything, or this afternoon, or time, or wherever it is, impermanence. That everywhere we look, without exception, we will find those things will eventually change. The name of a country, a composer, everything, they will all come and go. They arise, they pass, they exist for a while, and they pass away, according to conditions. Yeah? First thing. Secondly, dukkha means that everything born that comes into existence will age and decline and become separate from what it is attached to. So this can cause pain and grief, and this is one form of dukkha, of this suffering, unsatisfactoriness, chaos and disorder as well. So it's one of the natural laws that everything that we love, if we love and attach to it, it will become separated from us. That we will always be able to be meeting something which we dislike as well and don't wish to be associated with. our wishes will have the nature sometimes to be unfulfilled. Right? So that's the second one of the three. And the third one is that we cannot find a permanent entity which is a self or a soul as we look into everything. But all of these things, no matter which way we look, they are also nature to change and become separated and pass on. Like that. So those three. Next, four noble truths. That there's a reality that we find this natural suffering in everything where we look. Secondly, that the cause of the main cause of suffering and this chaos is clinging and attachment and craving, which and humans do this, can do this, and increase it and increase it. So we can bring it to a cessation, so that there's no craving and no suffering as well. We can do that if we follow the fourth noble truth, which is the Eightfold Path, which we'll come to. So this is a group of four, and then the Five Hindrances. Five hindrances. In this group of unmindfulness, it means passionate desire and craving, desperation can arise up. Just wanting more than there is. Second, just aggressive resistance, fearful agitation and aggression and anger and hate. Second hindrance. Thirdly, apathy, just don't care, got no energy. Sloth. Just can't be bothered to anything, give up. Those are the third. Fourth, restlessness, agitation and worry, anxiety. And then fifth hindrance is doubt. Doubt in the teacher, doubt in the technique, doubt in the self, doubt in the people who you're with. It's doubt. So these are the five hindrances which obstruct content, calm, connectedness and mindfulness. Yeah? Then the teaching of the five aggregates, very important, which we just showed on the map. Yeah? The teaching of that and that looking into it is very important. The 6 sense bases. We're missing touch. Make it 6. So those are just awareness of the 6 sense bases. When we're practicing in walking meditation, we can do just note awareness of seeing when our attention has gone to seeing something. Let it go. Awareness of hearing. So awareness of is used as a technique. So the contemplation of the 6 sense doors, and then an important tools that are used together with this. One is doing what we're doing now, which is investigating the teachings. 1. This is going to be a 7. 1 is to investigate the teachings by listening, by reading, by thinking, by working out, by experience, and by looking into your own resources, what you've got internally, which confidence, which doubts, so on, which hates, which anger. And then a group of 3 that arises a lot. That's mindfulness, and mindfulness governing how much energy there is there and how much concentration is there. So energy and effort and concentration. So mindfulness can be aware that I really haven't got any energy to, or can be like, I've got way too much energy and I'm just hyper, like that, and actually there's no concentration, like the mind's going everywhere, it's thinking about Christmas and shopping and everything else. No collectedness at all. So firstly is investigating all the wisdom of these ancient teachings and then using it together with mindfulness. It's not enough just to have mindfulness on its own, it needs to be accompanied by wisdom, this diamond of wisdom which can discern what's going on and why and make choices. Yeah? The choice is very important. Mindfulness is just one thing, but also it needs to have this Dhamma, Vijaya, investigation into Dhammas. So those 4 are the active part of the 7. And when they work well, your mind goes in, joy starts to arise. Joy is quite fizzy, though, a bit like champagne. It's a buzz, and therefore it's a bit unstable. If it sustains for longer and is a little bit more purer, happiness arises. Happiness is more stable than joy. Joy you can get like if you're shoplifting, people get joy. So it's not that pure and it's not that stable. Well, I shouldn't say that, but like people can be doing something unwholesome and joy can arise, meaning that. But if we investigate the meditation well, we can get also rapture, but that's still quite fizzy and quite unstable. You can get sort of ecstasies that run over the mind just because of meditating. But if it's more stable and we get more confident and stability, the higher level will become happiness will arise. So we understand it's more stable. And then practice on with even greater investigation into the teachings and into how to meditate and get rid of all the hindrances, the doubts, the faith rises up and so on. Then equanimity, the most stable one, can arise, and we want to try to get that to rise and stay. So those are called the 7 factors of enlightenment. So we practice those actively, largely through doing what we're doing, which is listening to Dhamma talks or discussing. 3 characteristics, 4 noble truths, 4 main efforts, there are 4 iddhipada, and then 5 hindrances. There are some other numbers in there, I won't go through all of them. But there you have a bit of an overview of this important thing, the 4 foundations of mindfulness, trying to transform anger into friendliness, agitation into calmness, and all these various tools that we have to help us, which have been passed down into the collected teachings. Very briefly, just to review what I've just said there, 4 foundations of mindfulness. 1, you have the kaya. 2, you have feelings of body and mind. 3, perception and the states of mind. And this is that quite important pattern to recognise of 4 that are always there. So the focal area, whether you're hearing or seeing, attention, intention, and then just the life is there. 6 occasional things that come up, sometimes and sometimes not, like aiming. Sometimes we not really thinking about anything, and then sometimes you look at the fish and we really are aiming. Hey, what about that fish there? So you're aiming. And sometimes you might look at the fish and go, yeah, I've seen it before, and you're off. Another time, secondly, sustaining attention, and you're hovering, go, wow, yeah, you really investigate it long. So that's the second one. And then these go on. We're going to go into 2 details: interest, willpower, decision making, and so on like this. Because there's 54 things in there, I can't really go into them too much right now. The breath is part of the body. The 3 parts of the feelings, which is equanimity, pleasure and displeasure. Same with the mind. The 4 elements, and as you can see, they're usually overlaid and combined. Citta is the name of the 3rd. Sanya is the name of perception in the old language. Vedanā is the name of feelings. These 4 always arise together. Mindfulness, collected calm, this is concentration, I prefer to say that. And these 2, which mean these 2 guardian forces, so like knowledge that something is wrong, and fear of doing wrong, and also just to put the brakes on and pull back from doing anything which you sense is wrong as well. So it's kind of moral shame and moral fear, just gives the restraint. These are absent when there's unmindfulness, agitation, and then the absence or the opposite of these 2. So it's like you know something's wrong but you don't really care, or you sense something is wrong but you're going to do it and you're going to do it anyway. So there's no fear of it, no restraint of doing it. Like you shouldn't drink and drive, but I don't care. I might get caught by the police, I don't really care. So not really thinking about the future consequences and just throwing it all away. The 5 hindrances, they're opposite. So hate goes to friendliness, desire goes to calm, contentment with what is, doubt goes to confidence and so on. This is quite important. These are good things to know. So you have the 5. Actually, these go into 2. One is energylessness, and the other one is kind of fed upness, but they're slightly different. So one of them you just don't really want to get out of bed. The other one you're actually really fed up and depressed. So there are 2 things there. So this is actually like 6. And then 2 pairs that are quite similar: jealousy and envy, and then conceit and ego views. So again, they're similar, but they have their own characteristic and the opposite of them. So 10 and 10. And then we have the Dhamma list that I just did, and a few more details. But that's what I've just covered over there. So the 6 sentence doors, roughly you've got the whole map there. These are a little bit more advanced, but introduces the idea that for each of the way that these relate to each other, there is a type of relationship. Some things are powerfully dependent on other things. Some things are just dependent on some things are just mutually helpful along, and so on. Some things are root condition. Like a root condition might be anger, there's already anger in there. So when the action comes up and someone does something, it was the root condition that caused it. So these are the causes, 24 of them. These are chanted by monks as a way to understand the way things happen. Good. So before we go on, I'm going to drown you in too much theory. I'd like to show you something which is a bit relaxing, because what things boil down to a lot is the ability to meditate in daily life and how you can apply this. So before going too much into the deep teachings, I'd just like to show you a brief clip which talks about how to make a minute meditation in daily life. If you're in a traffic jam, or if you're in a supermarket, if you're home, just a way to take a chill pill and just step out from your stress, if you're rushing around. So that is a popular animation that showed up, I found on YouTube, nice and easy to follow, and I think a good way to express an easy to get, before we get too involved in the deeper side of things.
Since you're watching this video, I'll bet you want to meditate but don't have time. Maybe you've tried to meditate but had some trouble. Maybe you had a wonderful experience meditating over there, but just can't find that same feeling over here. Well, my name is Marty Borison, and in this video I'm going to introduce you to the technique of 1 moment meditation. Then you can meditate whenever you need to. Like when you're feeling stressed, or feeling angry. Maybe you're having trouble sleeping, or you're feeling anxious. Or you just need a new idea. Although 1 moment meditation is ultimately about meditating in a moment, we're going to start with a minute. We start with a minute because a moment goes by so quickly that it's very hard to notice. But a minute is like a moment with handles on it. You know where it begins and where it ends, so it's easier to grasp. If you're ready, we'll do the basic minute now. You might want to shut the door, or at least tell people you're not available for the next minute. You don't have to tie yourself in knots for this. Just sit with your legs planted firmly on the floor. Try to sit up straight, but don't be rigid. It's as if your head were being lifted up away from the weight of the world. Think of it as cosmic traction. Now put your hands in any position that's balanced, symmetrical, and still. Like this, or like this. During the minute, simply focus on your breathing, moment by moment. Of course, even in the space of a minute, you will get distracted. That's perfectly normal. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. But as soon as you notice that you're distracted, just think, and bring your mind back to your breathing. I'll ring a bell so you know when to start and when to finish. Ready? Then close your eyes. Oh, one more thing. It's okay to smile. And go. eyes. Notice how you feel right now. Maybe a little bit refreshed, a little bit more awake, a little bit more open-minded. Not bad for a minute. And the more you do it, the better it gets. But please don't ever do the basic minute for longer than a minute. Don't be macho about it. Because the point of the basic minute is to show you that you can make a meaningful change in your state of mind quickly. So if you do it for longer, you're cheating. With 1 moment meditation, you can also learn how to do the portable minute, which is very useful when you're standing in line on a train, or stuck in a boring meeting. You can also learn the bonus minute, the surprise minute, and the emergency minute. With 1 moment meditation, you can also learn how to reduce the length of the basic minute step by step until it only takes a moment. And when you can meditate in a moment, your whole day can be filled with meditation because it takes no time at all.
Beautiful little Has anyone got anything they'd like to ask before we about an hour and a quarter session? Anything you'd like to share? Experiences?
Well, I like when you did the stop motion thing, where you were flipping back and forth. Like the body is, you're just wisps of this. Moment to moment is changing.
Like bubbles.
Yeah, I feel less solid about my body now. So just that, the 2 seconds that you were flipping back and forth, and I was watching like, ooh, it's like stop motion. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's sort of holographic. People treat each other as solid, as Robin, very solid, t-shirts, but in our own experience, we're fleeting and we're bubbles and we're like little bits of hologram here and there, zooming in and zooming out, zooming in and zooming out, zooming out. And that's what it's like, the more time you spend doing that. I'll do some more of that as well. It's good feedback. I like to do
I like cartoons.
Yeah, well, it's in the nature of it, it's moments and moment and moment. Like that. Just
I got liberated by sight.
Good.
Could you give an example? Because I really got intrigued with this 24, wisdom 24.
Okay, should we do that now? That relates to the next section.
Water break.
Huh?
Water break.
Yeah. A little bit of break before we move on to it, because it's a little bit involved. It looks a little bit involved, but we'll go in. We'll taste it. So we take a break. So I just say thank you all very much then, and we'll be back in a minute.